Alright, welcome to Gamers Station. Today I want to talk to you about cross-platform games. Now, a while ago I did a review on XCOM, which was a full PC experience that was then converted over to the mobile platform. And I mentioned that over time we're going to be seeing more cross-platform experiences, as in full PC sort of gaming experiences, which are also available on mobile devices and they integrate together. It's not like there's one version for one and a completely different version for the other. Now, I'm going to talk about Albion Online. Now, this is a new MMO that's coming out soon, but I recently had access to one of the beta events. And for 2 weeks we managed to explore a bit on this game and also figure out what it's like, how it plays and all of that. And it's not just coming to Windows, Mac and Linux, it's also going to be on Android and iOS. So expect this gaming experience on tablets as well, and it's not separate servers. Android and iOS users will play alongside the PC users in this sort of RPG universe. So it's a traditional sort of RPG with some there's no class systems or anything like that. And currently you could buy into the upcoming beta, which has sort of a founder's pack and stuff like that. But let's see what the game really is like. So let's have a look at some of the gameplay. So it plays a lot like a RPG from the early 2000s, a lot like Neverwinter Nights or even like Ragnarok Online, where you have this sort of top-down view. It's not really a full 3D rotate the camera, zoom in and look at stuff really close up sort of angles, but it has a really unique art style, which is sort of this mix between a painterly, cartoony art style, but also somewhat realistic. So the whole aesthetic of the game does have this interesting feel to it, and this does seem a style that seems to be coming up, especially sort of like Age of Empires Online, that kind of painterly style. Now the gameplay itself, it's a lot about resource collection, crafting your own stuff, and even buying plots of land and building things. And then on the other side there's sort of this guild and sort of combat system, and also this territory fighting over who controls what land. So when you start the game, you basically go through this really easy tutorial area where it shows you how to collect resources, from collecting branches, collecting wood, mining for ores, cutting up rocks and making axes and pickaxes, and making your own swords and armor, hunting animals to get the leather and then tan the leather and all that stuff, where you craft your own sort of armor. And there's no classes in this game, so you basically are what you wear. Now a key point of this game is that there's not permadeath, as in you don't die forever if you die, but if you do die, your items will all drop on the ground and anyone can come along and just take all your stuff. So there is a pretty big penalty to dying, and there is a pretty big bonus for buying a house and building up your own house and decorating it and storing backup gear in your house. So if you do die and someone does steal all your stuff, well, then you can go back to your house and have this sort of backup equipment. Now the combat system itself, well, it's sort of a auto-target system, so there's not too much interactivity, there's not sort of active dodging or anything like that, like in more recent MMOs, so it does feel a bit more classic, but you do have special abilities, and basically every time you craft an item, each item has its own special ability with it. So for example, if you get bows, you get to choose from a few different abilities, for example, barrage or fire arrows or things like that. So there's this whole sort of crafting, sourcing from the world and then building your own stuff sort of feel to it, and it's very interesting. Now I do have a feeling that they toned down the art style from being hyper-realistic and making it a bit more cartoony to accommodate the mobile platforms, especially for weaker devices, because they want to have everyone on the same server. And if you look up videos of Albion Online, it'll show the 3 different operating systems plus the 2 tablets all running at the same time, and they're all running separate characters. So for example, you could be playing on your computer and then you could leave your home and just pick up the game on your tablet and continue playing as you commute to wherever you're commuting to. So this is very, very interesting, and I expect there's some really complex technology behind it to really bring these things together, and that's probably the best part of the game, the whole cross-platform nature of it. So, should you invest in Albion Online? Well, If you are into the more sort of, not really traditional, but older sort of MMOs and RPGs, where it has that older feel like Neverwinter Nights, Neverwinter Nights 2, or even Ragnarok Online, those sorts of RPGs from maybe 5 to 8 years ago, then this game's going to feel right at home for you. And especially if you don't like class systems where you have sort of item restrictions, where you can't wear it because you're not a specific class, well, that's not an issue here. You can just swap items around and be whatever you want to be. The abilities come with the items. And one key point is the cross-platform nature of the game. So if you're the kind of person to be on the computer and then you just gotta go and you want to continue what you're doing, well, that's going to be a great plus point for you. But even as a standalone game, if you're just sort of a PC gamer and you don't really use mobile devices, the game itself does feel really, really fun. And the whole guild nature of it sort of is kind of emulating what Guild Wars 2 does, but in its very own unique style, especially with the territory control. Guild Wars 2 didn't really have that sort of territory system going on. So it's got this big social community, and so far it's looking pretty good, but it is still in the beta stages. It's still being developed and new features are being added on every time we look at it. So I want you to check it out and see what it's really like. So that wraps up my current review of Albion Online. And before I go, I want to mention that you should tune in next week because I'm going to be looking at another cross-platform game. And as I said, more and more of these will be showing up pretty soon. And as we go along, this is sort of a technology that we're looking at. All right, that's it from me, and I'll see you in the next episode.
Oh, I think I've improved over the course of the entire show. Firstly, I want to give a big thanks to Samsung for letting us run around the entire office here today, and also for sitting down to chat to us and show us some of their latest offerings. It's been plenty of fun. It's got me all excited, but it is the end of the episode. So in the meantime, you can find us on Facebook, etc. We would absolutely love to hear from you. My name is Adam Carruthers, same time, same place next week for a brand new episode of Gadget Nation. Now, back to this.